Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. Today we're going to get back to work on the 57, figure out what's wrong with that rear end, and maybe make a little wheel and tire upgrade. See it? Oh, just a peek for now. Here we go. All right, we're back on the 57 Chevy this week after a little hiatus because I had a sore back. We had to let that heal up. If you're new to the channel, this is my 57 Chevy pickup, and it is on a 97 Chevy chassis. I don't have any formal mechanic training. I did go to school to learn how to paint cars, but we are way beyond that with this one. We're just figuring it out as we go, and we are doing it on a budget. I don't have any real budget for this truck. I just have whatever I can scrape together or work or trade for. So, as luck would have it, Wyatt and I blew up the rear end. We thought we blew up the rear end. I think we actually blew up the posi in the 97 doing burnouts before we even put the 57 body on it, because why wouldn't you do burnouts when you didn't have a body on it? Anyway, today we're going to pull the rear end apart in this and see if we can't disable the posi, because right now we've got basically, maybe you've heard of a Lincoln locker or a spool.
Oh, no.
Yup!
We've got both tires doing the same thing all the time, whether we want it or not. So the first time I drove this was on the trailer in a straight line, no big deal. Pulled it off the trailer at the car show we took it to, and clunk, bang, clunk, bang, clunk, bang. Drove it maybe 1/8 of a mile to the parking spot and 1/8 of a mile back to the trailer, and decided we better address it. So I was shocked to find that we didn't have a bunch of metal in the bottom of this. So for the interim anyway, like I said, we're just going to try and free it up, make it so it won't lock at all, and clean it out, put it back together. Right now it's got 2-inch spacers on the back, and I'm not a real big fan of that. We may be going a different way with the rear end, so I'm not going to put a bunch of time and money into this one. I do like the gear set in this. It's a 373, kind of a good mix of highway and still getting off the stoplight quickly. But if we have to, I've got another 410 rear end out there. Unknown condition, came out of a running driving truck. But like I said, I like the 373, and we may be looking for a different one than that. So time will tell, and plans, and when everything starts coming together, we'll decide that. It sounds like my shop is under attack. There are acorns falling on the tin roof, and it just, sounds like people are trying to blow holes in my ship.
Stop blowing holes in my ship!
But I assure you we're fine here. Let's dig into this bad boy and see what we can figure out. I should be thankful I don't have a bed on here, huh? Oh, we got to pull the axles out the end to get this out. This is going to be more of a pain than I had hoped. I was really hoping to just get in there and get to the G80 without taking all this out, but I don't think that's possible. In the half tons, I think there might be enough of a window to get in there. But these little holes here, I don't think are going to get it. None of my teeth are chewed up or anything, so that makes me happy. I wonder what that yellow paint means. Does that mean somebody rebuilt it once? That'd be cool if I hadn't wrecked it. Is this little guy, you see the crack in there? If I get that to come apart, is that how it locks? Or is that just a casting line? I don't know. But I know, I remember now, we got to pull the axles out the ends to get this to come out, which means unbolting them. So we may have to go do that first. Yeah, these axles have the bolts on the outside rather than clips on the inside like a half ton. I think it would be easier to get that off there if I didn't have this stupid spacer in here. But the spacer has special lug nuts, which I don't have a key for, and I'm afraid that my 12-point sockets are just going to mess them up. So, see what I'm looking at here. I want to say they're a 10-point. I took a picture of them once, but I never ordered a socket for it. I think I need to go to a tire shop and make sure what they are, and then get the right socket ordered for it so I can take them off. Because I really don't want to start taking them off and then booger everything up and then have a bigger problem because I got in a hurry. Because I've done that before. Patience has not always been my greatest strength. Alright, so with that said, let's try some more. Maybe part of the problem is the rear end holding on to it, the center section. Let's poke around in there and pry on stuff and see if we break anything. One of the good things about working with mostly 3/4 ton stuff is it's harder to break things. Not impossible, as I've proven, but harder. No matter how many times you spin it around, it still looks the same. There's for sure some chunks in there. And a little glitter. We got a little shop dust in there now too. Oh yeah. There's some chunks. That's not good. But if they're G80 chunks and not bearing chunks, you know, maybe it survives for a little while. That's all I need is a little while. I guess maybe I might have to do some Googling and figure out why it doesn't want to let go now. Because I could have sworn on my other truck I just unbolted those and pulled them out. But I could also grab a hold of them. I didn't have a spacer in the way. Well, I consulted the experts, you know, Google and YouTube, and confirmed that, yes, I should be able to just pull that axle out of there. None of them really said anything other than just take the bolts out, remove the axle. That's the good news, that I was right. The bad news might be that maybe the reason it's sticking is because of the abuse it took and the breakage inside. So we're going to monkey with this side a little more, and then we're going to go to the other side and see if that one will just pull out like it's supposed to. On an unrelated note, I did decide to try a 6-point socket on one of these lug nuts. It felt like it was working. It was not working. Socket got stuck. I had to beat it back off there, and I may have damaged that lug nut. So that's exactly what I didn't want to do, but I did it because I'm me.
You idiot!
Back to our leaky, noisy rear. Just grab it and pull it out of there, it says. The axle is turning independent of that axle shaft because I can feel the when the threaded holes come around. Whoop! So it's definitely not stuck on the plate part of it. It's stuck. Something is stuck inside. Oh, and we're not turning. Yeah, the rear end is not turning. You can see the gears aren't turning. So, let's see if I can do this. So you can see the drum. So the drum is turning, but the gears are no longer. So, I'm betting our problem is inside that rear end. Every minute I spend on this that things don't go well is another minute where I consider just dropping this diff out and going and getting the 410 one that's out in my yard and sliding it in here. However, I'm not in good condition enough to drag that one in from the yard by myself. This one I might be able to manage in here with a floor jack and some dollies and stuff, but dragging that in out of the yard isn't a good idea. That other rear end would cure my spacer problem, wouldn't it? it would. I guess we'll go to the other side and see if we can get that to come out. And if this one won't let loose either, we may just call it. That's how they're supposed to come out. Why won't the other one do that? Don't know, do you? I guess that's okay. Looks okay to me. We got an open diff now. Of course, we can't drive it. Why didn't I bring a rag over here? I knew this was going to be a dirty job. And a better question is, why won't that other side let go? Let's go bang on that other side some more. Had to go steal my ground vice grips from inside the cab to remember to put them back. Well, can we get anything in the grips of these vice grips and bang on it? I got this real nice puller, but I don't know if it's got anything that'll stick in there. It's an antique. I don't think any of those will slide in there. And I don't really want to modify them because it is kind of it's a very old tool. I kind of bought it because it was cool to have as something to hang up. But I've used it a bunch of times because it's still good. I don't want to pry against these edges too much because they're soft, they're aluminum, so I started to booger it up, I think. So we don't want to booger that because we may end up reusing it. And if we don't reuse it, we can sell it for money to put in the project. So we don't want to booger it. So I guess we'll just try and hit the vice grips with a hammer. Or I got another idea. So ideally we would put the same amount of force on both sides at the same time, but not everything's ideal. Let's see what happens. Well, that worked great. That's about what I expected. She just don't want to let go of whatever is bound up in the middle of this. So at what point do you just call it, put it back together, and get a different diff when you're at my skill level? We might be at that point. I think we're going to admit defeat on this rear end, mostly because I don't see the point in wasting more time on it, since I don't have to save it. I have a 410 rear end outside I can put in it. I would like to find a different one because I'd really like to put duals on the back of here, and I don't think I can put duals on here without using the spacers on this with the rear end, which is exactly what I have outside. So, no rear end work today, but what we are going to do so that we can say we accomplished something is those ugly black wheels came off a Dodge. And I have... Shots fired.
Incoming, incoming. Everybody hide!
I have what I think will look much better, some white Steelies that came off a Chevrolet, or a GMC as the case might be, that will take good GM hubcaps. And I think we should put those on just so we can say, hey, it looks better at least, even if we haven't accomplished anything mechanically. Let's do it. The question is if I have 4 of those that are holding air. I'm not sure. I like that. I like that a lot better than that. Only way it could be better is if it was a Chevrolet cab, because, you know. But let's be honest, this thing's cruising 100 miles an hour down the highway, blowing by you, blowing your doors right off. You won't even notice that says GMC. It'll just be a shiny blur. I've been wanting to do that for a while. There is absolutely no point in it because those tires are junk and they're going to have to come back off to get new ones on. But it makes me feel good. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
We're going to call that a success on the wheel and tire swap because I'm real happy with how those look. And once again, our success on the rear diff on this is limited by tools and talent. So we figured out what we're going to do. We're just going to swap out the whole unit, which is what I would usually do because I don't have any experience setting up gear sets and that kind of stuff, getting all the shimming and the meshing and all that stuff right. So that's going to do it for this week. I appreciate you watching. We're going to see if we can't round up some parts and we'll come back to that rear end. We may have a couple other things that we've gathered parts for that we will be taking care of in the next few weeks. But once we get enough money saved up, we will grab a new rear end, new used rear end, and we'll get that put in. Until next time, remember, I appreciate you watching. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. We'll see you next time.